The 3 in me likes to charge ahead, worry about details later, you know, and you get so far down into a project before you find out that you should have turned left about 2 miles ago. Then it takes the 3 energy is to try to keep driving on through. You know, it's only a brick wall ahead of you, you know, and if you work hard enough, you can drive right on through a brick wall. To back up and correct course and go on again, tough one for me to do. There's a competition that is wonderful in work. You know, the expression that I still find myself using is, if you don't want footprints on your back, stay out of my way. I don't mean anyone harm, but the dedication, the drive of the 3 is far out in front of the project that is coming, and that drive can step on people. It's very hard to get the feedback that I want from family, because I'm always doing something instead of just hanging out and being. And so by the time you get it done, my family would rather have me than have me out there in the garage building something for them. You know, and it's a hard one. It's a hard concept for me to get. I don't know if I'm ever going to get, but it's a hard concept. Being, I don't understand. Doing, and better than doing is done. Feelings are suspended until after the work gets done, and if I'm lucky, the work will never get done, so the feelings are always suspended, so I don't have to deal with them until the point of exhaustion, when I don't care about them because I'm too tired. So feelings are not something that are enjoyable, and I will lock them out, and then I'll try to get them by doing, and never happen.
I care a lot about getting other people's approval. This is sad but true. I can tell when it's not going well with somebody. I can tell if they don't like what I'm saying, if we're not connected, if there's no sense of click between us. And I don't know to what degree I'm reading their body language, or to what degree it's intuition, or call it what you like. It can be exhausting watching for the approval of other people all the time, because there's a constant monitoring process going on. It's visceral, I mean, it's taking place in my body, but it's on the alert all the time. When I really care about getting somebody's approval, someone in particular, someone who's important to me for whatever reason, then it gets urgent inside. So urgent that I find myself shifting and altering to what I know that person would like. Giving is a multifaceted word for me. It's something I do very naturally, very easily. I have a very good sense of what people want in terms of conversation, gifts, mood, whatever. And sometimes I regret to say it can be actively manipulative on my part. I can know, well, if I give this, then I will get this in return. I hope to. Other times, I don't know I'm doing that. It's quite unconscious. But I'll give something, I'll find myself resenting the person later because I really wanted something back and I didn't know it. And other times, it's very natural, very clean, and very sincere, and it's just a pleasure to give.
For me, in a relationship, the most important thing is to be emotionally met, to be seen and heard from a heart place. It's not about gifts or regular attention or going out to dinner. It's about the deepest, most intimate parts of someone's soul being open and available to me. Because I want that kind of emotional depth with someone, there's always an aspect of longing. It isn't always possible or attainable right there. And I find that I long for and ache for more intensity and more feeling and more desire and more magic and more spirituality, more of everything. I have an intolerance for small, bright, cheery, superficial anything. I think for the most part, if it isn't real and deep and meaningful and have some thrust to it, that I'm not interested. It's boring to me, has no flavor. I think what saves me from a life of longing is making the ordinary special, extraordinary. If I can keep my house clean and have the mundane world around me handled, all the practical things of the world taken care of, then anything can happen from that point, and there's no limit to my creativity.
In a real situation, I can take action. I'm not afraid. I have incredible strength, energy, perception, skill. I think of myself as a warrior. I've had dreams where I've been a warrior when in my dream my family's being attacked, or I've defended them and been Superwoman. In reality, in situations that have happened in my real life, when I have not been afraid, when I've been threatened, what paralyzes me is when I'm imagining, when I'm future tripping, when I'm worrying about what can happen, will happen, and my mind is scanning for all the information that will validate that this is going to happen to me. And then I'm in that dread, anxiety, fear, but you know, all the mechanisms are up, and usually the stuff doesn't happen to me. I know that too. I have to talk to myself, talk myself through it, and look at false evidence appearing real. It's also suspicion in terms of relationships and people I'm really close to. When I know in my heart that someone loves me, I'm very uncomfortable when they tell me, I love you. It's like, I don't believe you, and where are you going to let me down? Where are you going to get me? I'm always suspicious of positive things being said to me with the people I'm closest to.
Privacy is very important to me. It's a necessity of life. For me, privacy is the chance to get off by myself and to recharge my batteries, to think over what's happened, the interactions, the conversations, the experiences I've had over the past stretch of time, to be able to assimilate them, to think them over, to play with them in my mind. It's a chance to get to the real me. It's as if I'm always observing myself. There is a part of myself which is detached from the rest of me. I don't have it or him physically located in space. That is, I don't feel this observer is above my head or behind me or off to the left or the right. It's an internal sort of thing. It's the part of me which is not involved in what's going on, but which is not judging it so much as looking at myself perform. Well, what's good about this stance? It has protective value, for one thing. It protects me from exposing myself to unexpected jolts of emotion. Power surges, you might say. I would say that my wants are simple in many ways. I'm not interested in a lot of money per se, or a lot of clothes, or, you know, I like to eat good food, but I feel I have the ability to get by with whatever is around.
Life is full of options. There are options, everything in life you can imagine. They're all there for the taking, and I want to partake in all of it. There's so many possibilities and so many things to do. When I do make a choice, if I find myself in a situation that's not interesting, I find a way of making it interesting. I'm never bored. Spontaneity is really important to me, and so I feel like when I have an idea, I have to follow it through, or I'll lose the spontaneity and something in me is kind of dies a little bit. I can't stand limits. I can't stand to feel confined at all. I feel claustrophobic. I feel hemmed in on, like I'm going to die. I have to be free. I need this feeling of freedom. I feel like I'm a free spirit. When something comes up that's painful to me, I have a very difficult time dealing with it. I'm always too busy. I'm having too much fun. I'm involved in something else. I'll think about it later. I'll put it on the back burner and I'll think about it, and later it'll come up. Maybe there'll be a solution for it. Or maybe I won't have to deal with it at all. Commitment is really difficult for me. It's so limiting and so confining. I find myself distracted very easily. Sometimes I feel like a horse that needs blinders on to keep my eye on the road where I'm going. But when there is something big enough, something I care enough about, I really fall in love with, I make the choice. It's something that's really interesting to me. Then I'm very committed, and I'm very dedicated and passionate about what I do. I can be counted on completely. I like being the way I am. I like to relate to people that are full of energy, have a lot of enthusiasm, a lot of options, are independent. Those are the kinds of people I really like to surround myself with.
It creates a middle position that I tend to take, where I look at one side and I can see all their points. I look at another side and I can see all their points. And I don't know where my point really lies in there, so I stay in the middle. And it tends to keep me in the middle. So then my consciousness is absorbed with being in the middle, and it makes it hard to take an action. I would tend to say that I have a lot of energy, and it's a lot of potential energy. And to activate that potential energy, it's usually some situation where there's some pressure, external. I can be quick to build somebody else's house, get it done on schedule, no problem. I've been working on my house for 13 years. But when it comes back to the self, then the inertia starts to take place. I think inertia for me means that there are so many points of view, projects, activities to do. The inertia comes from choosing which one to take. So sometimes I put myself in situations where I don't have time to think. And this is, I know you're going to like this. I'll wait for a deadline until the last minute, and then I'll just perform and get it done, because I have all that pressure on myself. And so I use that as a device to gear myself up to get something done. I'll set a deadline that's, I'll even make someone else set a deadline that's arbitrary, and that way I can have it done.
I think of myself as someone who likes to control, but I don't like being controlled. If someone's pushing me around or trying to manage me, I can be very bristly or rebellious. I think what vengeance does is it mitigates that feeling of helplessness. When someone does something to me, or my space is intruded on and there's nothing really that I can do about it in the moment, if I think about justice, if I think about vengeance, it softens that. It's a balm for that feeling of helplessness. I think anger's really had a bad rap. It's described as a negative emotion, and people talk about getting it out of their lives and not being angry and so on. But it's really an appropriate response, I think, to a lot of modern life. And my experience is that when I get angry, I don't come apart, I don't get confused, I don't get upset by it. In a way, there's a kind of clarity and power that comes in it. And so when I'm really angry and really let it kind of come through me, I can be very effective in it. There needs to be an intensity in the pleasure. It can be anything. It can be in art, it can be in sex, it can be in drug experiences, it can be in intellectual exercises, there can be the elegance of an idea. But it needs to be powerful. It needs to be something you can surrender to. I think the task in my life is to cultivate innocence, which means partly being harmless, which is not easy for me, and to get away from prejudices and policies and to be alive more to every moment.
Doing things right is really important to me. I work as a picture framer. Requires a lot of exacting measurement, a lot of aesthetic decisions that are sometimes very subtle, very delicate, and most of the time people don't even notice the things that I've decided on. And that's okay, because I know that it's right. I know that when the frame is finished, it's going to be perfect. If I'm criticized for the work that I do, what frequently happens is that I'll begin to criticize myself even more to make it better, because I don't want the criticism to come from the outside. I can apply it from the inside easily. I have a lot of patience with my self-correction. I can correct myself infinitely. My inner critic is like a voice that never quits. It's not a voice that I really hear, it's just a constant direction. I know what to do it right. And I have to align myself with that all day long. What I like about this is that where most people will do something halfway and leave something a little undone, leave a thread hanging, I'll stay with a situation, I'll stay with a piece of work, or I'll stay with a relationship, long past the point where most people would, because I believe that if I work hard enough, I can make it work. The best way to relate to someone like me is to keep in mind the fact that you can't come up with anything that I haven't already thought of in terms of correcting myself. And that if you know how self-critical I am, you'll approach me with a little more space.